INFJs are often called the rarest personality type, the quiet observers who seem to float just beneath the surface of the noise. They are the ones who carry 1,000 thoughts behind a soft smile, who notice everything yet rarely reveal the full depth of their mind. At first glance, they can seem gentle, reserved, or even a little timid, and this is precisely why people often underestimate them. What most don't realize is that this calm surface hides a lot of complexity and strength. Part of the reason INFJs allow people to underestimate them is that they are masters of subtlety. They do not need to dominate conversations or draw attention to themselves to feel secure. In fact, they thrive in the background, watching and understanding the intricate patterns of human behavior long before anyone realizes they are paying attention. While others are busy performing, the INFJ is silently collecting data, reading emotions, and connecting dots in ways that most people cannot even imagine. Their willingness to sit in that quiet observer role naturally makes others assume they're passive, naive, or easily influenced. If you're an INFJ who needs clarity, alignment, and a deeper connection with your true self, ensure to check out our INFJ Playbook. Inside, you'll find guided journal prompts, a checklist, a workbook, and everything you need to reconnect with your true self. The link is in the description of this video. There is also a calculated wisdom in allowing this underestimation. INFJs understand that real power often works best when it is invisible. By letting people assume they're soft or unassuming, they create space to move through situations without resistance. They can observe authentic behavior because people drop their guard around those they don't perceive as a threat. This gives INFJs a rare advantage. They see the truth of people and situations long before others see them coming. It's not manipulation. It's strategy born from a lifetime of existing in a world that often misunderstands their depth. Another reason INFJs allow themselves to be underestimated is their natural aversion to unnecessary conflict. They know their strength, but they don't feel the need to prove it to everyone. While some personalities crave recognition and validation, INFJs often operate from a quieter confidence that doesn't rely on external applause. They are willing to let someone assume they are fragile or clueless because they know the truth. Their strength is not loud, but it is enduring. Their patience and resilience are weapons they rarely unsheathe until it truly matters. Beneath this calm exterior, there is a mind always in motion. INFJs are strategic thinkers and deep feelers, capable of predicting outcomes and planning moves far ahead of anyone else in the room. People who underestimate them are often shocked when the INFJ finally speaks or acts, because their insight cuts straight through the noise with surgical precision. The very moment others realize the depth they overlooked is often the moment they understand just how much the INFJ had seen all along. In many ways, this underestimation becomes a shield and a tool. It protects the INFJ from unnecessary attention, giving them the freedom to navigate life on their own terms. It allows them to slip past ego-driven games and power struggles without getting entangled. And, perhaps most importantly, it preserves the element of surprise. Because when an INFJ finally decides to reveal the strength, intelligence, or influence they have been quietly holding, it leaves an unforgettable impression on everyone who doubted them. The irony is that the INFJ doesn't seek revenge or validation in these moments. Their quiet power is not about proving others wrong. It's about staying aligned with who they are. They understand that those who underestimate them only see the surface, and the surface is never the whole story. Allowing that underestimation is, in many ways, their silent art form, a patient game in which they always hold the deeper knowing. INFJs live in a world of subtlety, and their ability to allow underestimation to become a quiet ally runs deeper than most people realize. At their core, INFJs are deeply strategic souls cloaked in gentleness. They understand that in a world obsessed with loudness, the softest voice often travels the furthest because it isn't seen as competition. This awareness shapes the way they move through life. They don't resist being underestimated because they know it allows them to remain in the shadows, free to observe, absorb, and understand without interference. Another reason they lean into this underestimation is their mastery of emotional and social intelligence. INFJs read people like open books, catching the subtle shifts in body language, tone, and word choice that most overlook. When someone underestimates them, that person unknowingly exposes their authentic self. They speak freely, make moves without caution, and reveal motivations they would otherwise conceal around someone they consider an equal or a threat. INFJs gather this information silently, storing it like threads in a tapestry they can pull together when the moment is right. Another layer to their willingness to be underestimated lies in their spiritual and emotional patience. INFJs are old souls by nature, and many carry an innate understanding that not every battle needs to be fought, and not every truth needs to be revealed immediately. They are comfortable letting others believe they are naive or weak because they are not competing in the same game. Where others rush for dominance or recognition, the INFJ is building a foundation of understanding, clarity, and timing. They know that true influence doesn't require an announcement. It's revealed naturally when the circumstances demand it. There's also a subtle self-protection in this dynamic. By allowing underestimation, INFJs shield their most sacred traits, their empathy, their creativity, and their depth, from people who might exploit or misunderstand them. Being overlooked gives them breathing room to exist authentically without constantly defending their perspective. They can create, plan, and dream in peace while the world is distracted by louder personalities. And when life inevitably reaches a crossroads, be it in relationships, careers, or conflicts, the INFJ steps forward with clarity that others never saw coming. When an INFJ finally acts, it often surprises those who misjudged them. The friend who thought they were passive suddenly sees them walk away from a toxic relationship without hesitation. The coworker who dismissed them as quiet witnesses them solve a problem no one else even noticed. The family member who thought they were shy watches them take decisive action to protect what they love. The shock isn't just in the action itself. It's in the realization that the INFJ had been quietly aware and quietly capable all along. By leaning into underestimation, INFJs are not hiding weakness. They are cultivating power. Their silence is a strategy. Their patience is a weapon. Their gentleness is not submission, but choice. They understand that the most potent strength is the kind that doesn't need to shout, and the most enduring influence is the kind that grows slowly in the background until it can no longer be ignored. INFJs often live in the quiet space between perception and reality, and it is in this space that underestimation becomes both a shield and a superpower. The world sees a soft voice, a gentle presence, and perhaps a hesitancy to stand in the spotlight. What it doesn't see is the silent strength that lies beneath, like the deep current of a river that looks calm on the surface, but can sweep away anything in its path. Part of the reason INFJs allow this underestimation is because they understand the value of invisibility. To them, being seen too clearly often means being misunderstood, and few things are more exhausting for an INFJ than having to explain themselves to people who are only listening on a surface level. Allowing others to think they are simple, timid, or overly agreeable buys them peace. It lets them watch the world without the weight of constant expectation pressing on their shoulders. And in that quiet, in that underestimation, they thrive. INFJs are also natural long-game players. They see patterns in people and situations long before others even realize a pattern exists. By letting themselves be underestimated, they gain the freedom to observe without interference, to move without attracting defensive resistance from those around them. It's almost like emotional judo. By appearing non-threatening, they allow people to expose their motives, reveal their weaknesses, and express their true selves without even realizing it. This gives the INFJ an almost unfair advantage when it comes to navigating relationships, careers, and life's most delicate challenges. There is a deep emotional intelligence in their choice not to correct the underestimation. INFJs know that some people need to believe they're smarter, stronger, or more in control. Rather than feed their own ego by proving someone wrong, the INFJ steps back and lets the illusion stand. They're not surrendering. They're conserving energy. They're choosing which battles matter and which battles are simply noise. When the right moment comes, their actions, not their words, reveal the depth and power that others overlooked. And when that moment comes, it often lands like a quiet storm, undeniable and unforgettable. The most poetic part of this dynamic is that INFJs rarely need recognition for the strength they hide. They are not looking for applause or validation. They are more interested in authenticity and alignment than in external praise. Allowing themselves to be underestimated is not a game of ego. It's a conscious or unconscious form of self-preservation and strategy. It allows them to hold their cards close to their chest until the moment they decide to play them. And when they finally do, the world realizes that the gentle, observant soul they dismissed has been 5 steps ahead all along. They were never weak. They were wise. They were never passive. They were patient. And the quiet depth they allowed to be ignored becomes the very thing that changes the dynamic entirely, leaving an impression that lingers long after the moment has passed. One of the deeper reasons INFJs allow underestimation is their desire for authenticity in a world that often rewards performance. They know that the more people believe they are harmless or naive, the more those same people will reveal their true nature. A coworker who dismisses the INFJ as too quiet might speak freely, assuming their words carry no consequences, while the INFJ silently absorbs every detail, building an internal map of character and motive. A family member who thinks the INFJ is passive might never realize that the INFJ has already anticipated the outcome of every argument before a word is spoken. This quiet permission to be underestimated is a form of freedom. It allows INFJs to slip past the armor people where when they sense competition or judgment. In relationships, it lets them witness the raw truth of a partner's soul before the person even realizes they've been read like an open book. In the workplace, it keeps them out of unnecessary conflicts while positioning them to make game-changing moves when no one is paying attention. They're the kind of people who can resolve a situation, change a narrative, or secure an opportunity while the world is still busy ignoring them. And yet, INFJs are not powerless underdogs waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Their patience isn't a strategy born of vengeance. It's a natural extension of their depth. They understand that true strength is not loud. It is quiet, enduring, and precise. They are content to let people misread them because they are not invested in proving themselves to the wrong audience. They would rather invest their energy in the right moment, the right action, the decisive movement that speaks louder than any defense ever could. The shift happens when that underestimated INFJ finally steps into their power, often in a way that leaves others stunned. A boss who thought they were timid suddenly sees them handle a crisis with calm authority. A friend who dismissed their intuition realizes the INFJ predicted an outcome no one else saw coming. A person who spoke over them for years is silenced in a single conversation because the INFJ finally decided to speak, not with anger, but with clarity and irrefutable truth. By the time people realize their mistake, it is often too late to take the INFJ lightly again. The once overlooked soul has revealed a strength so profound that it leaves an echo, a reminder that the quiet ones are often the ones you should have been watching all along. INFJs carry the weight of storms in their stillness, and they will always allow the world to underestimate them, until the day they decide to show exactly why that was a mistake. INFJs know that when people believe they are harmless, doors open that would otherwise remain closed. Walls crumble. True intentions slip through in casual words and careless actions. The underestimated INFJ becomes an invisible witness to the rawest parts of others, their insecurities, ambitions, and hidden fears. And while they're often quiet in those moments, their minds are a whirlwind of understanding. They're connecting dots, reading energy, and building a picture of the truth that others cannot see because they're too busy underestimating the one person who already understands them completely. There is also a deep emotional and psychological wisdom in this approach. INFJs know that not every moment requires defense, and not every insult deserves a response. They have the patience to let others live in their assumptions, knowing that time has a way of revealing everything. By not challenging underestimation, they conserve their emotional energy for the moments that matter most. And when those moments come, their actions, measured, precise, and often unexpected, shift entire dynamics. People rarely forget the day they realize they misjudged an INFJ. Maybe it's the quiet student who suddenly delivers a presentation that changes the way the whole class thinks. Maybe it's the friend who has been listening silently for years and then speaks one truth that pierces the soul. Or the employee dismissed as passive who calmly resolves a situation no one else had the foresight to handle. In that moment, the underestimation shatters, replaced by awe and, sometimes, a quiet sense of regret for ever assuming softness meant weakness. INFJs allow the world to underestimate them because it is the perfect camouflage for their power. Hidden in plain sight, they move without resistance, learn without interruption, and strike with precision when life demands it. By the time people realize the depth they carry, it is already too late to ever see them the same way again. They remain unforgettable, not because they demanded attention, but because their quiet strength revealed itself at exactly the right moment, proving that the ones the world overlooks are often the ones who change it in the most profound ways. What most people fail to see is that the quietness of INFJs is not emptiness. It's intentional. INFJs are always watching, always processing. They notice the flicker of doubt in someone's eyes, the subtle shift in tone, the tiny inconsistencies in behavior that others miss. They are silently collecting threads of truth, weaving a tapestry of understanding that will one day allow them to act with shocking precision. Their silence is never ignorance. It's strategy. Allowing themselves to be underestimated also gives INFJs a unique form of freedom. They can navigate social dynamics invisibly, free from scrutiny and resistance. In this shadowed space, they gather the insights that allow them to make life-altering moves when it truly counts. They can see the cracks forming in relationships long before they break. They can anticipate workplace conflicts and sidestep chaos with effortless grace. And they can protect themselves and the people they love without anyone realizing just how much foresight they had all along. The moment this underestimated strength surfaces is often unforgettable. It might be a confrontation where the INFJ, long thought to be quiet and compliant, speaks with a clarity that cuts through every defense. It might be the decision to walk away from a toxic relationship that everyone assumed they would tolerate forever. Or it might be the sudden, strategic move in their career that leaves everyone wondering how they orchestrated something so flawless under the radar. These moments are never impulsive. They are the result of silent observation, deep reflection, and the INFJ's ability to move with perfect timing. INFJs never mind being underestimated. To them, it is the perfect camouflage. While the world is busy misreading them, they are already steps ahead, carrying a depth and strength that will reveal itself only when the time is right. If you're an INFJ who needs clarity, alignment, and a deeper connection with your true self, ensure to check out our INFJ Playbook. Inside, you'll find guided journal prompts, a checklist, a workbook, and everything you need to reconnect with your true self. The link is in the description of this video.